I'm David. I'm here in the Kyser warehouse, and we're continuing our video series on how to use the Kyser Quick Change Capo. Now, in our last session, we explored the idea of what are the notes on the 6th string and what chords do we know that have their root or their lowest notes typically on that 6th string. And we talked about how the E chord is one of those, right? There's E and there's the low E note, the root of the chord. We also talked about how the G chord is another one. So the key of G is a great one, and G itself, root on the 6th. And we talk about then how it's easy to move around up and down the fretboard playing with songs in the key of E or in the key of G by just using the capo. Now, the little challenge I gave you last time was, okay, if you were going to play in the key of G, but use your capo, and you were going to play with a key where the main chord has its root on that 6th string, what would you do? Now remember, this is our G chord, but my root is right here, right? So what do? The answer to the little quiz is I put my capo on the 3rd fret. There's my G under the capo, but I'm going to use the E form because the E has the open ringing 6th string. So now I'm in the key of G, but I'm using chords in the key of E. Looks like E, sounds like G. Now another challenge I gave you was to go ahead and memorize notes on the 5th string. So we're going to take that a little bit further because we have open A, right? So that's the 5th string. So what key could I play in where the home chord, what we sometimes call the 1 chord, the number 1 chord, well, it's A because it's the open A string. So there's A. Now if I move that A chord up a fret, kind of like I did in the last video, and I play, okay, that's not what I'm looking for necessarily. So if we know bar chords, you don't have to learn bar chords, but if I made this with a bar chord form, here's my A, then I move it up a fret, then I need the bar across. And this is a 5th string root bar chord. And so I'm playing that and it sounds right, but it's like last time we learned, hey, let's take the capo, let it replace the barring finger, my index finger. And so now I can play a song with chords that belong to the key of A. So now, what key am I playing in though? I was in A, but I moved up 1 fret. Well then I just need to remember, gotta go through the notes. So open is A, 1st fret is A sharp, also known as B flat. Okay, just a little fancy way of talking some music theory. We call those inharmonic notes. And A sharp can also be called a B flat because this note is B, so the note below it is B flat. This is A, open A, and the note above it is A sharp. So I'm going to go with the sharp names because we kind of live there in guitar world. So open is A, 1st fret is A sharp. So that's where my capo was. So when my capo was there, and I'm using that open string with the A chord form, I'm now playing an A sharp, okay? What if I move up 1 more fret? Well, then that's a B. So now I move it up there, and now, though it looks like A, I'm playing in what sounds like B. Let's go up 1 more. B. B moves right to C. So we're going to go there. So there's my C note. So now it sounds like the key of C. I'm going to play in C now, same progression. So just a little bit of a different voicing, but it really sounds great together. So that is our 5th string. We could move all the way up and find different voicings. I'll do 1 more. Here's C, C sharp, D. I'm on the 5th string, 5th fret. That's a D note. So I'm going to capo there, play the A chord. And based on that, I should be in the key of D because that's my root note on that 5th string. And I am. All right. So we know then that I can use the A chord family. What other chord do we know that has its root on the 5th string? Well, it's the chord C. So when I'm playing a C, my low root note C is right there under my ring finger, so I can play in C. So now I have another chord that I can move up. I just need to remember where my root is. My root is right here under the 3rd finger. So if this is a C, this is a C sharp, so I'm going to move all my fingers. And then this at the 5th fret is D. Okay, now a while ago we capoed at the 5th fret and used the A chord. But now I'm using the C chord and my root is right here, and I need these fingers in the chord. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to do basically kind of intuitive thing. All right, I've moved up I moved from here 1, 2 frets. So basically I'm going to take a capo, open position, 1, 2. Put my capo down there, and I'm playing the C chord. The root is D on the 5th fret. So that should sound like D. Let's see what happens. So it does, it works, all right? Last one. Let's go to our 4th string, and that is a D. That's the D note. Well, what chord has the low, or the 4th string as its lowest note? Well, that's the open D, and it's the D chord. So now I can play in the key of D. Now, what could I do with that though? If I move and put my capo on the 1st fret, and I'm considering that 4th string, 1st fret, my root note, then that's a D sharp. So now I have a new key, D sharp. If I move it up 1 more fret, I'm at an E on my 4th string, 2nd fret. Sounds like E. Let's test it out. So here's E. So it does work, okay? Now, I could imagine that I would feel like right now it's like, dude, my brain's about to blow up. You've given me a lot of information. I get it. Here's what we're going to give you. As we close out this video, you'll see on the screen a chart that basically shows in one column the key that the song is in. So maybe you pull up a song this week and you find out that that song is in the key of maybe A flat. Well, you can look in that chart, find the key A flat, and then you can look across the chart and it will tell you if you will put your capo on the 1st fret and play with chords in the key of G, you will sound like you're in A flat because this is an A flat note. I can play there and sound like I'm in A flat. Well, if that's an A flat note, that chart will also tell you, or you could slide it up right on that A flat and use chords in the key of E, and it will still work just fine. You're going to see all the different variations of where you could put the capo and what key you would play in. Now, my encouragement would be for you, a long-term goal is just to memorize those notes and experiment with finding every place you could play a particular song in. Here's a quick example. If I'm going to play in G, I can play here in G. I could capo 3 and play with an E chord. I could capo 5, play in the key of D. Or I could go to capo 7, play in the key of C. I have all of those options available to me to play in the key of G. Back to G, back to home. All right, that's a lot. So here's your assignment for this time. Take this chart, which you can also download. There will be a link for you to download that chart and experiment. Explore all the possibilities of where you might play your favorite song in different positions, but in the same key, using the Kyser Quick Change Capo. Try it out. We'll see you next time.